So there was just a massive change to one of the main endgame elements of Legion Remix, this being a big change to the rewards you can get in Mythic Plus runs. Now, if you'd been running any Mythic Plus before this change, you may have noticed that the gear you were getting at the end of the Mythic Plus run would be the same item level depending on the key you're running. So let's say you were running a bunch of plus 30s, every item drop you would get in that Mythic Plus run would be a 675 item level. It wouldn't go up as your gear started upgrading like every other element of the game is pretty much working right now. Now, the big issue with this is that if you started a new character, you could have other people just bring you in super high Mythic Plus runs and just get you that higher item level gear instantly, completely skipping the gearing of Legion Remix, which is actually really unique in that you're essentially just continuously getting small item level upgrades for pretty much anything else you do in the game, and that was completely different in Mythic Plus before these changes. And if they didn't change this, almost certainly more towards the end of Legion Remix, everybody starting a new character would just get boosted up to max level, and then there would be paid boosting runs absolutely everywhere, so you could go get your 700 plus item level gear instantaneously from just doing high Mythic Plus runs. This has been completely changed now because you don't actually get gear drops from Mythic Plus runs anymore, but for players that aren't getting boosted, this is actually a buff. So now, instead of a chance to get gear and getting a small amount of Motes of a Broken Time, they have now removed all gear drops, but you get a lot more Motes of a Broken Time. And if you've gotten a level 80 already, you know what these are. You combine 10 of them and it turns it into a piece of a raid gear. Now, in Legion Remix, raid gear is essentially just a higher item level piece of gear that you already have. So pretty much any time you turn 10 of these into a piece of gear, it will be an upgrade. If you have, say, 700 item level boots, you use one of these and it gives you boots, it'll be like 702 or 703 item level. So they're essentially always an upgrade. They're one of the most important parts of getting higher item level gear in Legion Remix. And now you get a ton of them for Mythic Plus. And previous to this change, people weren't really running Mythic Plus for gear. You were pretty much only doing it to get infinite power, and it was arguable if doing high Mythic Plus runs was even better than open world farming for infinite power. Because even if you could already run super high Mythic Plus runs, you probably already had the gear that allowed you to do a run that high anyway. So now, no matter what item level you are, spam running Mythic Plus is going to be incredibly strong, because not only are you now going to get a ton of Motes of Broken Time, but Mythic Plus runs are still one of the best ways to get fragmented mementos of epoch challenges. And these are the items that you turn 100 of these into a ridiculous amount of infinite power and stamina. And at around 17 to 18 infinite knowledge, you get like 90,000 infinite power from using 100 of these. So that is quite a lot of infinite power as well. So now Mythic Plus runs and being able to efficiently farm higher Mythic Plus runs is not only still going to be incredibly strong for infinite power, maybe the best method, but it's also probably going to be the best way to gear as well, or one of the best ways. Now, just to give you an idea of how rewarding this can be, I ran an 11 Eye of Ajara and completing that, and it was very fast to complete. I got 13 Motes of a Broken Time and 24 of the Epoch Challenge tokens. So that is quite a lot of infinite power when you actually get up to 100 of them to use them, but that was also 1.3 item upgrades. And that was only a plus 11. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some pretty strong breakpoints to where once you get to a certain level, you just run this Mythic Plus until you can do this high of a Mythic Plus much quicker. And I don't think anybody's done the testing at this point to see where those really strong breakpoints are. If you could say spam like plus 20 Mythic Plus runs very quickly, you are going to be getting a ridiculous amount of gear upgrades and infinite power. So I think if you're just looking for overall progression, not specifically looking to gear faster or to get infinite power quicker, I think doing fast Mythic Plus runs is now going to be the absolute best way for just overall progression. Even faster than like open world elite farming or just raid running, even though you should probably still do your daily raids. I think this is definitely going to be the thing you're doing for a lot of Legion Remix to just upgrade your character very quickly. Also, if you haven't done any Mythic Plus, 5 tanks in Mythic Plus is actually the meta right now, at least for not crazy high keys, just because with the abilities from your artifact weapon and how much damage tanks can put out while also being tanky, it's just the absolute best thing to do. You essentially just pull as much as you can and try to get to the next boss. If you can, you just pull everything up to the next boss and you just kill all of the ads with that boss. You just pull tons of stuff, group it all up, you all use your artifact abilities, and you can pretty much insta kill full groups of enemies. So that's going to be the meta right now, but I think once people start to run super high keys, I think it may turn back into actually having group, because even though that's a meta right now, DPS are still doing a lot more damage than tanks, and at crazy high Mythic Plus, I think healers may still actually be wanted. I'm just not sure on that point yet. It's really only at these lower levels of Mythic Plus, like even doing like 30s and stuff like that, that having 5 tanks is just better, because once you get to the point where 5 tanks using their artifact abilities doesn't like insta kill big groups of enemies, and instead does maybe like half their health or less, that's when people are probably going to start to bring more DPS and start doing lesser pools, and it's going to start to feel more like an actual Mythic Plus run instead of 5 tanks just walking in and everything dying. And I'll probably end up doing a follow-up to this once we learn where the optimal breakpoints are, and just giving a bit more of an explanation and information on how you can do Mythic Plus runs in the most efficient way, the group comps, or more specifically the role comps that are being used depending on what keys you're using, and also once we have more information on the really good breakpoints. So if you're this geared, should you just be doing 30 runs as fast as possible, or should you be jumping up to like 40s or something like that? So make sure to subscribe to keep an eye out for that. But that's all I want to go over. So thanks for watching.
Bell detonation. Bell blaze puddle. Searing glare. Shadow blaze puddle. Ice storm. Ice storm. Bell detonation. The edge. Searing glare. Shadow slash. Bell detonation.
Fire will come for you! Make yourself useful and take a look around.
Scream of pain. Whirling blaze. Scream of pain. Whirling blades. Scream of pain.